According to the Littoral Society, Wreck Pond's natural inlet in Monmouth County was filled in during the 1930s and replaced with a pipe that restricted the natural flow of water into and out of the pond. Runoff from roads and bird droppings became trapped in the pond, creating high bacteria levels that would often force the closure of nearby beaches. The pipe and resulting pollution also discouraged migratory fish from using the pond as a breeding ground. A new passage, which officials recently celebrated, made up of a series of 5-foot-high by 8-foot-wide interconnected concrete boxes supported by pilings driven into the sand, is designed to effectively act as an inlet that can be managed through the operation of a gate during severe weather events.
In January 2016, we broke ground on this important project, and today, about 11 months later, we celebrate the completion of the project.
It's hard to overstate how important this outfall pipe is to the residents of Spring Lake and to the overall health of the pond. It's a unique project in that it has 3 distinct benefits. The first is a reduction in flood risk to the homeowners living near the pond. While we know better than to think that we can control Mother Nature completely, the pipe allows us to quickly release water from the pond and to control ocean water from coming into the pond in the event of a serious storm. Number 2, increased fish passage from the ocean to the pond. There was a time when the pond behind me had a bountiful natural fish population, and we look forward to a gradual increase in local fish that traditionally migrate into the pond. And the third is a return to a healthier pond ecosystem. With the increased flow of water, salt water, into the pond and out, we expect to see a significant increase in water quality and a healthier pond environment overall.
Hurricane Sandy hit our shores, and about a year later, Secretary of Interior Sally Jewell announced the Department of Interior would be awarding $167 million to restore and strengthen coastal inland areas in 14 states, supporting more than 70 projects on the Atlantic coast. A month later, we had our first meeting with Spring Lake and possible partners about how we would make this project happen.
Last year, Governor Chris Christie announced the $3.85 million from a HUD grant that made Wreck Pond's restoration possible through the Sandy Appropriations Act.
Wreck Pond is an example of what we've been doing as an agency at DEP, using science and data by partnering with local partners and nonprofits to achieve positive environmental results. When we said we were going to address the concern, it wasn't just words. We were backing it up with funding through the federal government, through DEP funding, through local funding that made this all possible. And I'll add as well that overall this project is part of our flood hazard risk reduction program. Wreck Pond is just one example of it. It's a $50 million grant program that's made many worthy projects up and down the coast possible. By investing in recovering resiliency projects such as this, we're safeguarding our local communities, working to improve infrastructure, and preserving our $42 billion tourism industry.
Officials say Superstorm Sandy provided the state with an additional set of challenges and showed them the vulnerability of the coastal lakes.
Sometimes issues that were often overlooked, Sandy really highlighted those for us. And the concern at Wreck Pond was ongoing for years. If you think about it, and the mayor and local residents know this all too well, that even with 1/10 of an inch of rain, it would cause a beach closure, which we found unacceptable. I know the mayor and local residents, as well as our great partners, and this allowed us to help address this issue.
This funding, which made this project possible, came out of the hurricane. And going forward, there's a lot of work to do like this in Monmouth County, throughout the state. We need to look to this as something to institutionalize. We need to make sure that we care for the coast, not just today, but in the future. And that's going to take commitment. That's going to take integrating this idea of balancing the environment and storm reduction into our infrastructure decisions going forward.
The new gate can be closed at low tide in anticipation of heavy rainfall, creating more storage capacity for stormwater. When storm surge is predicted to be the primary weather threat, the gate can be closed to prevent the ocean from inundating the lake. At all other times, water in the culvert will rise and fall with tide cycles, improving water quality.
Wreck Pond is important for a variety of reasons. From the standpoint of the Fish and Wildlife Service, it's an important aquatic connectivity project for species such as migratory fish that move from the ocean to Wreck Pond and back. It will also improve water quality by increasing tidal flushing in Wreck Pond that has its share of water quality problems over the years. And finally, this project represents a sound investment in building a resilient coast through the future through enhanced storm protection.
While completion of the fish passage is a significant milestone, work won't end on Wreck Pond and the surrounding watershed, as a sand berm will be constructed in the spring to provide added protection against flooding while maximizing stormwater storage capacity.
I think for the American Littoral Society, this represents a demonstration that we can both restore and protect the coastal environment in New Jersey, as well as reduce the exposure and vulnerability of the towns along the coast to future storms. We did it on time, we did it on budget.
Through our partnerships, we established the Wreck Pond Water Restoration Plan. Because of this action plan, we identified areas with storm sewer, areas in the storm sewer that were broken, identified and repaired broken laterals, and designed and implemented an intensive water monitoring program. And that commitment remained in a post-Sandy New Jersey.
Federal, state, county, and local. It was the extraordinary cooperation, mutual respect, and just plain hard work among these different teams that made this important project a reality. I speak for our entire council and all of the residents in Spring Lake when I say thank you. Your work here will have an impact for years to come.